All right, let me, before I start, let me show you where we're going, because I did it the other day and you guys were all kind of impressed. But
Oh, nice.
nice.
Wow.
now,
Beautiful.
when I was fussing with that coffee cup, that I originally had a disc here, and I erased it out, I whited it out, I drew a coffee cup, and then I go, oh shoot, the coffee cup was too small. Anyway, I had to make this bigger, but I did this as a practice, almost like a silhouette to put on here to see whether did I want it up here, breaking the line of the table, or did I want it down below? I decided I wanted it a little bit closer to if I'm doing a crossword puzzle and I want to be able to reach it. I don't want it on the other side of the table. So I made that decision early on. Yeah, so we're headed that way. We'll see whether we get there or not. Kathleen Davis for doing that, photoshopping that the mug into the original picture. That was really very helpful. On a lot of the paintings, almost, and certainly the landscapes, in about the first half hour, we had almost everything, covered. Like in the first wash, I may have a third of the painting covered with a sky or something or whatever, or ocean. But here I'm going to start, it's going to be very different. I'm going to start very in small areas here. And then later on, I'll throw in a lot of wash and color and work in the background. This is always hard because if you have your light objects, which the newspaper and then the flowers, these are light. I want my light objects in first. Then I block in my darks around them. Oh, I gotta record this thing too, dark. Yeah. So I want to block my darks in around. So I got to make sure, but I don't want the darks to dribble into the nice light, fresh colors of the flowers. Okay, so I'm going to start right in with these flowers, and here we go. Judy already. Already exclaiming. So it's not going to be water all over the place. It's going to be a little bit picky. Like I'm not going to be throwing a whole lot of water. Okay, I've got this yellow. I got a little bit of aureole and yellow. I'm just a touch there. I want to remind myself I have little hints of yellow in these different places.
You just dabbing?
Yeah, I just dabbed it. Didn't do any brown.
What are the little center parts?
Oh, I'll deal with the dark parts of the flower later. Okay, so here's orange, right? Okay, I put the color on there. Do I like it? Is it the right color orange? Yeah, I'm happy with that. So now I'm not going to get too fussed with, I'm going to pull this all the way across here. I want to watch my outlines because they have these sort of petal shapes. Push that out. This is where it's dark. And
What you're using the aureole and what other color?
Oh, Windsor red or permanent red.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so here we go. And what's this? This is a little bit more orange over here. Okay, so there's that zinnia. Judy, you trying to keep up with me or what? Are you trying to keep up? Yeah, and then you're going to miss. And he goes, oh, I didn't see what you did there. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm going to go with a little aureolin. Actually, I have a little bit of cadmium yellow I'm going to throw in right down here. This is a little bit more opaque yellow. And I see a little dash of it down here, a little bit of it up here, a little bit of it there. And notice I'm not getting too fussed about, I want to make sure that's the pink flower so I don't mess up that too much. Okay. All right. Now, while that yellow is wet, I'm going to dip into a little raw sienna. This is sort of a darker yellow. And I'm going to push that color right. Oh, and a little bit of cerulean blue with it too, to darken it even more. What's that? Ooh, wow. And then I got that orange. There's another bright orange somewhere right in there. Okay, but there's certainly some darker tones down in here. And I haven't done that dark blackish middle part of the flower yet. Boy, oh boy. Okay, then I'm getting over, I gotta be careful here. I got this, damn it. I just messed into that. This is that flower that has the white center. Oh, I goofed that up. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit. I have a color called Permanent Rose, which I'm gonna use for a couple of these zinnias. Squeezing it out now because I forgot to do it a minute ago. Okay, I'm going to put a little hint of that. Oh boy, look how bright that is. Okay, permanent rose, a little bit of yellow in it. Dot around there. I'm going to leave. I got a little bit strong there. Okay, and then I'm going to have a dark inside of there. And I want the edges of these zinnias are going to have these sort of ragged edges. So I want to kind of leave them as though the petals are sticking out. Okay, and I got another very light version of that down here. This one has the white center, so I'm going to leave it. All right, leave it, leave it. I feel like I'm talking to my dog. Leave it. Right, Howie?
Exactly. Howie's too good. He never picks up anything.
Yeah. Okay. Now I got like this permanent rose. So I'm going to throw it in back here. A little bit of yellow in it. Again, I'm just sort of slobbing. I mean, I can't go petal by petal. So I'm just, I did leave that yellow in there. Okay, I kind of like that.
And netting, I mean, oftentimes the pencil will kind of act as the separation on the petals anyway, won't it?
It can be, yep. They can remind you where you are. Okay, I've got this kind of purpley color in here, and I think, I don't know whether it's going to be permanent rose and cerulean. Let me try it. Does that look good? Let's see. So I only know when I put it on there. Yep, that looks good. Okay, so cerulean and the permanent rose looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to drop that. And if that purple blends in a little bit with the pink up there, I'm not going to worry too much about it. Keep these nice distinct petals down here. Edges. Boom, boom, boom. Out there. And then I got this very dark, I get a little alizarin crimson with that permanent rose. Now that's going to be dark. It's going to be in the light here. See the little light hitting those petals? But then after that, it's going to be pretty dark. So I'm going to get some ultramarine. And this is a dark. Oops. A dark color in here. Should be a dark red, but it's more of a purple. There we go. Pulling that out. And I'm going to blend it a little bit with the light red that I left there. And right about now, since things are starting to set up a little bit, I know this is dry up here. I'm going to drop in the darks at the center of the flowers. And if they bleed a little bit, so be it. Okay. Raw sienna. I'm going up here. Raw sienna, a little bit of burnt sienna, a little bit of the cerulean. This seems to be my blue of choice today. Okay. And this is okay. I might even take a little bit of red and drop it in there. That maybe a alizarin crimson or something, just to. Okay, there's that, and then we got a little bit of red inside there, and this is really dark. Okay, some of that is bleeding. I got that looking okay. Where's some of my other darks? There's a dark in the center of this one. And a little dark in the center of that one. And definitely down in here, there's almost a blackish color. I just got to think that they're in the bottom in a well of petals. Now I'm going to stop in just a second. This is a very flat tone of orange. So I'm going to take my aureolin and some permanent red or Windsor red. And I'm just going to, where are some of the darks in there? Let's see, there's some right down. There's a few coming out of here. There's a rounded area here. I see a dark petal in there. Sometimes I think I'm just making it up. Oh, do I really see a dark? Okay. Definitely put a little line there. Put a line there. I'm trying not to just outline these things. I'm trying, some of the petals are definitely darker on parts of them than others. This is dark under here. Okay, and then I'm going to go, oops, I lost some of that. I'm going to go into, geez, we got some more darks down in here. And I got to, okay, I'm just going to do that little bit of this purple flower. I'm going to get a little bit more dark up in here. Blue that. And this red is definitely darker. Okay, this red up against the purpley flower is definitely in the shadows. Kathleen Selecki, did you see that news feed about the fire in Vineyard Haven?
This is Carol. No, I didn't, from Falmouth.
Yeah.
What was the fire?
Gosh sent the video. Unbelievable.
It was the house across the street from ours.
Wow.
Burned right to the ground.
Oh my God.
And they had done a big reno not that long ago, right?
It wasn't a big rental, but they'd done some work. But yeah.
In New
Okay, I'm
Haven?
just putting. No, this is on Martha's Vineyard.
So this is
Okay.
Vineyard Haven.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Wow.
And okay, I'm going to let you go here. It's just you're throwing a light tone. You're throwing a light tone and over most of the flower. Then you come back after it starts to set up and start dropping in a few darks to create edges of petals, like right in here or a couple up in here. And while you guys are starting to paint, I may do a few more in this purple one, but it's a little wet right now, so I don't want to put color in there and have it bleed. But I'll let you get working a little bit on the flowers. Dropping color in, you can always start putting other darks against it, but start with your lightest tones. All right, have some fun.
Last year, Ned, it took me a year to finish the flowers.
And this year it'll just be 6 months, right?
Exactly. It definitely will be 6 or 8 months. There were a little fewer flowers.
Has Andy been down this morning for your coffee? I haven't seen him
Yes,
come by.
yes, he always peeks in. Yes, he just,
Oh.
my coffee just arrived.
Well, he's got to stop in. Well, maybe he doesn't want to interrupt.
Sorry, Ned, I just realized I was on mute when I was answering you about the fire.
Yeah, because I didn't hear you. I know you're there.
No, I had read about it. I didn't realize it was that close to you. Wow.
Yeah, like in one of the news feeds where the video shows the firemen throwing water on, lots of hoses, and in the background, our house is right across
Wow.
the street. It's like, oh my God,
Oh my
that's so
goodness.
close.
Do they know how it started?
No, I'll wait to hear. Josh, have you heard anything more? We haven't really heard much more.
No, I mean, but I did hear the fire chief say that it's going to be very difficult to determine anything because they had to tear the rest of it down. For two reasons: it was unstable, and they couldn't get the fire completely out without tearing the remnants down. So they may never really know how it started.
Yeah. Pretty scary.
Yeah.
Winter fires are scary. Anyway.
In my earlier days, I knew a lot of people in Brooklyn who were firemen,
Mm-hmm.
and they said the chief cause of fires were frying fires on Friday and Saturday nights. People would be enjoying themselves,
Mm-hmm.
then they'd get hungry, and then they'd start cooking something in a skillet,
Yeah.
and then fall asleep.
Oh, great.
Hey, Ned, what did you use? What colors did you use to make the alizarin flowers darker, like the one at the bottom? How did you make it? What colors did you use?
Well, anytime you add blue, like either cerulean or ultramarine, you'll get it darker. What's going to make these look like flowers is the irregular edges as the flower pushes out. Sometimes they're petals, and sometimes they're the tighter zinnias with just little tiny little facets. So resist the temptation to make a smooth round line around the edges of your flowers, because then they're going to look like lollipops or Tootsie Pops. And don't worry so much about the middle. We'll come back to the middles and some of the details, darker details in the flowers later on. When the flowers are wet, it's kind of tough. I might have gone beyond myself by trying to put some of the darks in the middle of the flowers, because it started to bleed. So we can always come back to the flowers later with some darks when they're drier. Okay, my sense is that if I give you more time, you'll just keep putting brushes into the middle and things will start to blur, and then you're going to be reaching for tissues and all that kind of stuff. So we've done a tiny, like a little 15% of the painting so far. So we've got a ways to go. But again, painting light to dark. So what do you think is my next lightest area? Newspapers I'm going to leave white.
The lamp in the back?
It's going to be the bottle in the front. The light green tones in those stems. So now we're going to learn. Here we go. How do we paint glass?
Yeah.
Well, if you look carefully, the left-hand edge of the glass of the milk jug is very light. I mean, it's almost white, and so I'm not going to paint that. A couple of edges at the rim where there's a double ring around the top. Those are white. And there's a lot of white down in the very bottom, and there's certainly some white on the right-hand side. So there are a few areas that I'm just not going to touch. Maybe if they look too bright later on, I will. But I'm gonna leave some of that. Leave some of that bottle light. The greens I'm going to paint, but when the greens go through the water line, they're going to jump. Like a green stem doesn't go straight all the way down to the bottom. It goes through and then it hits the water line, and then it shifts over because of the distortion. So we'll kind of watch this water line. So I'm talking before I paint. So okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to just grab. Again, I'm not going to throw a lot of water on here. I'm going to take Aureolin and cerulean. Gives me a nice clean green. And where do I start? I'll put a little bit up here. I know it's way darker up here, but I'm going to put some green up here. It's certainly, let's see, it's underneath that ring. So I'm just going to dab in some green in here. It's pretty darn dark way over here. All right, now I see a big, strong, these look like asparagus stalks going down. Okay, let's go. And I'm not going to paint each one. Sometimes if two of them are next to each other, I'll just make a big, long strip. Okay, and then this jumps over. This one comes down right to the outside edge of this thing here. There's that. And another one goes I'm trying not to make them all the same thickness either. Another little green that comes here. Can't quite see how that works. It's very hard to see into that glass also. Okay, I'm trying to get the light greens in first. I do have some. I do have some brownish tones coming in. Oh, there's a leaf down there too. I'm going to mix that leaf in with. I'm going to leave that water line. Okay. There's a leaf. There's a leaf. And now I'm going to get a little burnt sienna. This is for the stems that are a little darker. Try this coming up through there. Good. Ooh, wait. Wow. It's a lot of burnt sienna, raw umber, raw sienna. Nice. A little bit of whites in there. I see a little bit of. Some of that dark is the table, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of ultramarine blue up into this corner because it's pretty dark. Okay, I'm going to keep that white on that edge, keep that light color there. I got that light. Okay, now down the bottom of the picture, you got that right at the base of the glass. I see kind of a bluish. Come on, bluish gold. All right, here we go. It's kind of a wavy shape. Comes up. You kind of look down there and go, what am I looking at? What's the shape of it? Looks like a whale. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. There's another part of it. There's another part of it.
What color is that?
Well, kind of gray.
Mm-hmm.
I used a little bit of permanent rose because it was kicking around on my palette, left over from the flowers, and then I grabbed a little bit of the cerulean blue. I'm going to put a little dark right at the bottom of the glass. It's darker because the glass is thicker. There's the corner of the glass. There we go. I'm leaving little streaks of white in there. Now, a little bit of that. Yeah, I'm gonna just make that water line, an edge of it with the this grayish blue, and I got some of that tone right in here. This is tricky now. Do I paint the color of the table now, or wait till I get the table color in? All right, I see this grayish blue on this side of the. There we go. That's a nice color. That side, keep that light. Put a little bit of streak up there. Color that in. And before I stop, I'll just in a few areas where I think I need some darks in the green. Just to give the hint of a dark side of those greens. And if they blend in with the that stuff, that's not a bad idea. Okay, some of these colors, some more colors in here I'm going to do when I do the tabletop, because I don't want to get into that right now. I will put in maybe a shadow around the coaster, leaving the white sitting right there. Oh, I know. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of blue. Get this cup. I'm going to do the very lightest tones on my cup. I'm going to leave a few places light white where they are some highlights. So I didn't really leave any white highlights, did I? All right. I've got it. I'm going to put several tones on this cup, but I need to get the, leave that a little bit there. And then okay, I'm just drawing the color. Just putting a very light tone over this whole cup here. That outside edge is going to, there we go. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of yellow ochre into the bottom there. It sort of reflects, comes off the table. And I'll leave that. Okay, I've got a little bit of that cup. There we go. And I'll leave that alone. Okay, so I've done a light version of that. Did the light greens in here. We're going to pause because the next thing we're going to start doing is throwing a lot of color into the background. And that will start to tighten things up a little bit. All right, I'll let greens and the cup.
Hey, Nettie, I think I may have missed it. Did you outline the bottle in this last step?
Did I outline the bottle? Not
Yeah.
really.
The upper half of the bottle. Are those your pencil marks? Or did you do? No, I mean the upper half above the water line, the edges of the bottle.
Oh, no, these are just pencil marks.
Okay, thanks.
So that when I do the brown, I know where to stop the brown.
Yeah, thanks.
What's the 1 hour mark, and we've only done about a teeny percentage of the whole thing, but we've done the major players, the major actors, the coffee cup and the bright zinnias. And the rest of it will be darker tones and a little more muted. All right, so this is where I'm gonna float a lot of water on first. I'm gonna float water on the background wall right through the plant. I'm not gonna paint, I'm not gonna put the water on the top of the credenza back here. But I will go through parts of the shade. And if you look in your photograph, you'll see there's some reflections of a window in the painting that's up here. I'm not going to try to put those in. That's kind of crazy. Okay, so I'm just going to take, and I'm not going to paint the frame itself. I'm going to leave that for something else. Okay, so this is just water over the lamp, underneath the frame, right through this peace plant here. Right down to the line of the credenza, around the zinnias. This gets tricky around the glass because you want to keep some light marks in the glass. But you also want to okay. Okay, and I'm going to now, I've just watered that area. This is raw sienna and cerulean blue. I see it as sort of a greenish tone. Oh boy. That looks a little, all right. Here we go. I'm going to go around the lampshade, even though I painted water into the lampshade. Go right across here. Let's get a little more blue in there. There we go, right up there. And paint through that paste plant. Deal with that plant later. Right down to the credenza line. And this tone has to be darker than the zinnias. So I gotta step it up with a little more color in here, or a little more pigment, because I want this background definitely to make the flowers look bright. Well, it's not far from mud. In a few places, I'm bringing in that background tone into the shadow side of that, some of those petals, just to link the background and the, there we go. Is that darker? Jeepers, I gotta get more color in here.
Now, Ned, you've made the decision to make it a greenish
Yeah.
color, not, it's quite vibrant blue in the photograph.
Yeah, you can do blue. That's fine. Blue is a good option because it is the opposite of orange.
Oh.
And that will make your flowers sing brighter or sing loudly, and that's not a bad idea. Yeah, so you can fuss, when you're dealing with background neutrals, you can kind of do what you want. I'm going to take a round brush because I want to get into boy, I'll tell you. This, but then I got to make it darker down here. I got to keep a few lights in that. Okay, I'm going to take my permanent rose. I'm going to use a little bit of, since I use the permanent rose in the flowers, when I'm reaching for a red, I'm going to use the permanent rose because it kind of keeps sort of a harmony in the paint in the tones rather than grab a different red altogether. So I got a little pinky up there. And let's see, I've got that pinky color. Maybe I'll throw it into this frame of the, I'm going to go right through the plant. I don't really care about that because I'm going to paint the plant a different dark color. All right, while this is dark or wet, I'm going to take a little bit more raw sienna. I'm going to do the tabletop now. A little bit of burnt sienna, raw sienna, ultramarine blue. And let's see what happens. Okay, good. And this is, you can see that back tabletop is darker than the wall. I want that. Let me get a little bluer. Good. I'm going to paint that in there.
Hey, Ned, is the front of the credenza still going to be darker still?
Yeah. No. The edge of the top is going to be fairly light, but the credenza itself is going to be the darkest thing in my painting.
Okay.
Right. And part of the reason I'm painting this now is I don't want a sharp line. I'm able to get a little bit of a softer edge back here because it's blending into the background wall. And so I don't get a sharp line, which would be maybe a little bit distracting. You don't want a lot of details in your background. And if you want to eliminate details, don't do sharp edges. Okay, there's that. There's that. Maybe a little bit of dark. Oh, and underneath the lampshade, I see a little bit. Feel like romper room. I see blue. I see a little shadow of the lamp on the wall here, coming down.
I see romper room.
I see.
Right?
I see. What's that? There's the game the kids play.
Oh, I spy?
No.
No, he said I spy. I spy.
You could say,
No, I spy.
I spy,
Was the name of
Why?
And then while everything's really wet, I'm going to take a little bit of pink, this rose color, and then with a thinner brush, I'm going to make a few. Is it worth making the lines here because they're going to bleed like crazy?
If it bleeds, it leaks.
Anyway, I got a few little lines there.
So where's your darkest thing gonna be? Ned?
The credenza down underneath the tabletop or under, yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Right.
Right there.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna pause there I'm really tempted to just keep going, but I got to let you guys catch up. So this knocks off the top quarter of the picture. This light is going to be a little bit problematic. I want to keep some whites in there, but I don't want them too bright. And while this edge is fairly light, I'm going to just take just almost pure water right across the front of the edge of that tabletop. And it's just maybe going to pull a little bit of the color that's above it down. And then below that is where it's going to get dark, dark. All right, we'll save that for later. Okay, so we've done, I really felt the last step really felt like watercolor. We were floating a lot of loose colors in there. We'll get back in there soon. A lot of this was just like paint by numbers, yellow, pink, purple, and some greens down here. I guess we got a little watercolory, but this area starts to feel like watercolor because things are fairly loose and a lot of color swimming along there. And now we got two big areas. Which area do you think we do next? Anyone? Bueller?
Front of the credenza or the tabletop?
The table.
Yeah, the top of the table, because we're going to leave these white. We're going to do this one of the last ones. That's really dark. But we got to do this thing first. And this is a 2/3 of the painting almost, or whatever. Okay, so because I'm going to be covering a lot of area, I'm going to want to float. I want to put water. I want to make sure I go around the mug here. All right. Let me move this so I don't, okay. And I'm going to go around this this milk jug, but I know I'm going to be painting into it too. Okay, here's the newspaper, the top of the newspaper. There's that. Now, if somebody wants to make the daily news there instead of a New York Times crossword puzzle, that's fine with me. All right, around here.
Daily Double.
I don't want to get too much water on here.
I thought about my mother. My mother didn't have a college education while she was in school cafeteria. She did her spare time. She did the New York Times crossword puzzle. I'm going like, I can't do that. It's like, this is amazing.
Okay, so I put the color on there. I put the water on there. I mean, I want to make sure I don't have any big puddles catching. Let me get more in there. And I am going to go inside here with some color. So I need to remind myself of that. Okay. Whew. What brush? I'm going to use one of my largest brushes. And I'm going to, what I do is I'm going to paint. I am going to paint. Okay, here. got to talk a little bit. I am going to paint some of the wood grain. You need to understand, I just went over this with Judy in the gallery, that the wood grain goes back. This is perspective now. These lines go back to a spot almost above this yellow zinnia, orange zinnia. These lines go a little bit more of a diagonal from there. In fact, I even screwed this up. I want to have it go a little bit more like this. So the lines on the tabletop will go toward there. Now, that's not necessarily true of the newspapers because you could turn them any which way. They don't necessarily have to line up with that spot. But these lines of the grain, they will. Okay, so the first color I'm going to throw in, it's going to be raw sienna, which is that yellowy color. Oh, I got to see if Suzanne's coming back in. Nope. Oh. Okay. Okay. Fine. I'm going to do a little bit of burnt sienna, which is the reddish brown. So a yellowish brown and a reddish brown. Throw that on there. Now I'm going to tone it down a little bit with a little cerulean blue. And here we go. Go around the mug. We eventually will do a darker blue at parts of the mug. Okay, I come down here, around there. I can't with that brush get inside there. Okay, raw sienna, burnt sienna, a little cerulean blue. Painting it inside there. Actually painting it a little bit into the mug. Heck, a little bit of dark side of the mug. All right. So the big brush.
Big soft brush.
Big soft brush. Going around this ceramic coaster. Oh boy. Now this is starting to dry up a little bit, so I need to keep moving. Good straight line there. Around the water bottle. A little more cerulean blue. Well, I got so much water on here. I just need to be putting real paint on. So let's go. Boom. All right, there we go. A little cerulean blue coming down here. I think I need definitely more color in here. Okay. Not happy about that. Now I need some color in the middle of the bottle. And again, this is real watercolor painting. You just got to look and say, okay, where is it? Okay, I see it there. I see a big triangle of color there. I'm keeping that edge. All right. Keeping this edge very small. The water itself, I'm keeping it light. I may have to darken that later. Let's see, where else do I see the brown? You see the brown down in here between the stems, and I gotta make sure it's dark. It's gotta be dark, otherwise I'm gonna lose my, I'll forget where my stems are. And this color coming right up through here. All right, and I got some more up in here. A lot more brown in here than I thought. Right down to the water line there. All right, is there any brown down here? Not much. Oh, a little bit up in here. All right, now watch carefully. This could screw it up or not. I'm going to put in some of those tigery stripes. So I'm using the cerulean blue again, burnt sienna, and this paper is fairly wet. Here's the shadow underneath the cup. Lines are going up toward there. Oh boy, here we go. Here's some of these V shapes of the wood grain. Okay, so I'm leaving there's a lot of dark down here. I'm painting the darks and just leaving a few strips of that light tone. Here we go, a little more color. Wow.
Are you using mostly burnt sienna?
Burnt sienna and cerulean blue. Here we go. Come on down here. We're going to do a little more of these. Wiggling. You want to watch the space between the darks, and you're going to leave a little. And these are irregular, so.
Oh my God.
What?
So the church congregation will code it.
Who's that?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm doing a little bit of along this. I'm going to do just a little bit of shadow here off the newspaper. Dark edge right at the edge of the newspaper. To give it that, and then I'm going to take a little dark. While I'm doing that, I'm going to take a little dark edge down at the bottom here, right at the edge of the the coaster. So it sits up a little bit. And I may now kill some of the white of this coaster here. It's not quite that bright. And I'm gonna look. I'm looking into this, the water on top here. It's, I need to kill some more whites. They're just not it. All right, and that looks a little too bright over there.
So the trick with wood grain is
I guess just keep it, you know.
pretend.
Yeah, as long as everything's really wet, it's soft fuzzy is kind of fun. Okay, we'll save the newspaper and the plant and this credenza for the next step. So you've got, now we're starting to fill the page with color. Things are starting to link together. All right, I'm ready to move on. We've got a couple things to do. We got to get this dark is going to lock everything together because this is the darkest dark. A little bit of up in the painting and this flower here, and then right near the end we'll do a little bit of fussing with the newspaper, and then we'll take a look at and see what needs to be adjusted. Okay, you really want to make sure things are dry when you're putting on one of your darkest darks. You don't want them bleeding into something else. We know the flowers are dry. We haven't touched them in a while. I'm going to throw in a little some water first, because I'm going to be just throwing a lot of color onto this. And I don't want to put too much water because I don't want it to be too gloomy. Okay, there. Okay, water over this entire, the front of this dining room hutch, credenza, whatever. Piece of furniture, mid-century modern classic.
That's cool.
All right, I'm just checking out. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is one of my darkest darks. So I'm gonna use, I guess, this fairly large brush again. I'm gonna use burnt sienna.
Charlie?
Do we get no? Burnt sienna is just so sticky. Gotta get a little bit more. This is a very tough color to work with. Burnt sienna. And I'm going to use ultramarine blue. That will really darken it up. There we go. Let's go a little bit more blue because it's looking too brownish. There we go. There's the edge of that tabletop. Let me take another brush here. And I don't want any little white stars at the edge of my flowers. Come on, I need some more blue. There we go. Around that flower, around this flower. And if I overlap it all, it's right over, it's darker than the tabletop, so I can go over that line. If if I need to. All right. And same thing on the other side. This is not as wet, so I got to get going here. Being now you're going around. Remember, this is where you make your irregular edges. If they didn't look irregular before, let's work on it when you put in this dark tone behind it. Get some more blue here. This is going to make your flowers really sing. Now I want to make sure I don't dribble that down somewhere I don't want it. Okay, it's this combination of brownish color and then the blue. So it's neither one nor the other. But a nice, good, nice, dark, rich mixture. Notice I have a little bit back in there. There we go. That noise. Okay, now right underneath the edge of the table, it's a little bit darker, so I'm just going to go right in with a darker blue, indicating shadow there. Can I get it there? You just add more color. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, and I might make a few lines, a few vertical lines in this because this thing it is wood, and I don't want to get too crazy with it, but there we go. And I'll let that sit up for a little bit, and now I think I'm going to work on that coffee cup, which we've left for a while since I have blue out on my palette. I have ultramarine blue and cerulean blue. And what am I going to do? I'm going to leave the edge of the cup light because the light hits it there. And you want to be careful here. There we go. The outside edge of this mug. I'm going up and around the handle a little bit. And now I'm going out, pushing out against the table. And I have that little hint of the brown from, I don't know if I'm going to get that back. Maybe I'll try it. Put a little raw sienna in there to get that reflective light back up in. Okay. Now go back to blue, ultramarine, cerulean. How am I doing this? I'm going to keep this fairly light over here. And I'm going to go around the very edge of this handle.
I'm gonna get you, Henry. I'm gonna get you.
The very edge of that handle, I'm going to go a little bit on the outside of the handle, a little bit on the in. And we're gonna call it a day on this mug. Oh, I need to do the, there's a little. There's an upside down smile on the inside where that rim is. And I haven't put the coffee in yet. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit like that for a minute. And maybe I can take a little bit of that shadow tone, mix it in. Yeah.
How many computers does it take to shoot a dual watercolor?
Somebody's coughing or fussing a lot. It's kind of, and now it's becoming a little distracting. So if you've got some background noise around you, maybe turn your.
That's my husband in the kitchen. I'll take care of it right.
Okay, he's making lunch for us.
Uh-huh.
Okay, good. Thanks, Laurie.
Uh-huh. By the way, Andy just told me he did look in, but you guys were so busy that he didn't want to disturb you.
Oh, I always have time for Andy. I love seeing him.
What was this?
Today, he comes down to get her some coffee or something, but
So Ned, yesterday we were planning on taking a ride up to, well, just north of Pauling to go to Big W's to get barbecue for the game. And then we found out they closed.
Yeah,
We
Yeah.
were so
they
disappointed.
suddenly closed last,
Like
Yeah.
May or June.
I mean, I just don't know where Warren went. I mean, he lives around here.
Yeah, no,
Well, on the website, it said that he retired.
he couldn't keep the help. It was just very hard, and he said, it's just more of a hassle. He's now doing things for disabled children. He's doing some cooking and things like that, and it's just a whole new thing. And he's happy to be out from under the other, but
So disappointed. We love that place.
you came up to get your Super Bowl food from there. Oh my God.
It was the best barbecue around. I could care less
God.
that it was an hour away.
Oh, I know. And for if I'm in Pauling alone and Maria's not around, boy, I I guarantee I'd have a couple of meals from his place.
Exactly.
Get an assortment of his stuff and put it on top of a pizza that we would get from across the street.
Oh, is that right?
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Warren's Pizza Time. And he caught on to us like a few years ago, and some of his customers started doing the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because his pulled pork and his
Oh, I don't think I had a favorite because I would go, okay, I'll do chicken this time. I'll do pork the next time. I'll do.
it's
Oh, the
beef.
brisket was my favorite.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
I love those big beef ribs.
oh yeah, yeah. And the dirty beans, the baked beans with all the little crusties in there. Oh,
dirty
yep.
mashed potato.
And the
Oh,
and
on the side.
the stuffing with the brisket in it.
oh,
My
God.
gosh.
He didn't let anything go to waste. He threw all the little extra crispies into other things.
Exactly.
I keep hoping he'll open some other sort of something or other.
I know.
Or do it like on occasion, like just tease us every once in a while. If you hear about it, let me know because I'm driving up there.
Oh boy, I'm getting in trouble here. Jeez.
I love that little bit of blue next to that big flower.
What bit of blue next to what flower?
On the credenza.
Yeah, just to the left.
Over here?
On
Right.
the tabletop of the credenza.
Yeah. Oh, up in here. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
How are you putting in a crossword puzzle? That's ridiculous. That's.
Okay, so time has gotten away from us. We're yakking away here about food. Let's get. I'm going to work on this newspaper, and I have a. I don't know what this photograph is. Something over in the Middle East or something. I don't even know. Nice blue sky. Then it's got a really, really intense sort of mountain shape. Throw that in there. That's the photograph there. Let's see. Now, this is so I'm hinting at this newspaper thing. I've got sort of a red, yellow, and blue. Ultramarine, I'll use that same permanent rose or alizarin crimson pink, and a little bit of raw sienna. I want to get it a little bit more on the grayish side. Okay, good, good, good. Here we go. And so now just a light touch here. This is, I told you not to draw things in, so cross word, even I can't even read that, even though I'm doing it, but that's all right. And then I'm noticing the text. It's got these patterns where it's a long line and maybe a couple of shorty lines. And these clues, and you don't want to make it too repetitive because then it's going to get boring. Not 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, but blur things a little bit. There's another column of clues here. And think of them as blocks of text, not always lines. You got a block and then a block. Try to line them up so that they are going back in perspective point the way the lines of the table did. Okay. Now, why don't we do these dumb little, all right, here's the blocks of the, now notice I'm not making this black. It's not black, because I don't want it to jump out too much. So it's kind of a purpley gray, maybe. Long.
Is it chilly in here?
Yeah, it could be.
You notice that?
Yeah, a little bit.
We were just talking about chili, weren't we?
No, we're talking about ones.
Barbecue.
That would be mac and cheese.
Oh, that was good too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the guy in the deli here?
No, in Wingdale.
Window. One big W. Used to do duck on Friday.
Really?
Yes.
All right. And if the text has a little bit more blue 1 minute and a little bit more pink in another minute, that's okay too. I don't think I'm going to draw in. I'm certainly not going to draw in all the lines of the crossword puzzle. I think you kind of get the idea here. And there. Now, at the edge of the newspaper over here, I'm going to do a little line as though. Ooh, come on. I want blue. Thin line that's sort of the newspaper is layered there. And now another dark would be up into the what was the painting inside this frame. It's going to lock in there. Hi there, hey, how are you, Jennifer? Good. We're on the last stages. Come on around. Now I'm doing just doing that last plant. Very strong color. It's mostly going to be in silhouette. Wiggle, 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 coming down like that. And I'm going to take this one up here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know, no chance to characters.
All right, and just And there are a lot of little leaves going up and down and all around. So make it kind of irregular, raggedy. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm going to get a little bit more. I'm going right down into the plastic container. Oh boy, come on. Down, down. There we go. And then the pan that goes around it is just a little bit wider.
Wow, you're more popular than a 13-year-old.
And where'd my picture go? Okay, another. There we go. Bill, you remember Jennifer from last year?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So no free day today.
No.
Gay Davis said, Mr. Reed, he was in on Sundays. You would know. Did Bill talk to you about having a free day? I go, do you think Bill is calling me about a free day? He was saying, I think it's going to be a free day because we had one last year on the holiday or on the Super Bowl. And I go,
Last year was the long weekend.
yeah, and you didn't have a long
We didn't
weekend.
have a long weekend.
Yeah, I know. So he was playing this Russian roulette where I don't think I'm going to worry about my classes tomorrow because like we're going to get one. It was like, you don't play those games.
Well, and then the pigeon put something out.
Okay.
I saw Bill's email about H2 and something I didn't really.
Ruining a tradition.
Yeah, and Debbie, I saw the ladies this morning, and Debbie said, "Do you know what this is about?" And I said, "I really don't know." Okay, I'm putting a few lines in this shade back here. Putting a little bit of dark underneath this frame and down the middle of the frame. Judy, we're in the middle of class.
Huh?
I'm teaching here. You're yakking away.
Just sort of chatting over.
Oh, he's painting the thing.
Okay.
He's painting the thing.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, I did the piece plan. Okay, now I kept the piece plan really simple because everything else is so crazy. We're out of time. I mean, we were over time. This would be a time to go back and put in a few darks into your flowers, or if you felt something got too dark, get some gouache, some white opaque, and maybe make a few edges of the flowers lighter and make them jump out a little bit more. But I think for today, we're about there. The other thing is I may go back to this entire. I think this is still too jumpy. So I'm just going to paint it all over again. It just looked too tiger stripey. So I'm taking a light, soft brush and a little bit of raw sienna, and I'm just going to go over because this looks too orangey. Around that. Bill's going to seem like Putin and stifling the press, isn't he? Okay, do you see what's happening here? See how red that is and how jumpy it looks? It's just too stripy, and I just don't want it to. I want the flowers to sing. I don't want these lines to jump out too much. So I'm just going a little bit over everything, and this is me not putting it down quite right the first time. And I guess it's good for you to see me make mistakes because you paint yourself into a problem, you paint yourself right out of it. There we go. Knock that. I think that helps the piece hold together a little bit better with the values. That tabletop was just too jumpy. Okay, let you fuss around with this. I will do critique as usual on Wednesday night. I will say, if you are interested in, we have 2 more classes after this one. I promise we won't have people, and I promise we won't have boats. But if you are interested in another class of 6 classes instead of 8 in the month of April, I'll send out an email. I'll gauge your interest. And I already have a couple people in town that did not join this class that want to start in April. So I have a nucleus, and I'd be happy for any of you to join in for a few more weeks. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Any last questions, comments? They're all asleep out there.
Oh, we're still awake.
Not asleep.
Although we're really hungry after all that talk about the barbecue place.
No, and it's after 1 o'clock. So I feel like I'm going to hear Lori chomping at her husband's lunch.
Yeah.
Ned, I like the way the front of the credenza on yours came out as it dried with a little bit of texture to it. It's very interesting rather than just a flat.
Thank you.
Solid color.
I've got to go, but see you. This was great.
Okay, Nana, thank you. And again, if some of you have 2 paintings to show in the critique, Nana and a few others have already done that Japanese floral arrangement. So we can have those in the critique as well as today's. So
Right.
Fuss around, and I'll get planning our next painting project. Good. Nana, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye.